Hello and welcome. I'm a hotel AI expert, and I'm very pleased to welcome all of you, the students of Europe Hotel School, to your online learning journey. In the fast-paced world of hospitality, let's be honest, things don't always go according to plan. And how a team responds in those critical moments, well, that's what separates the true professionals. Today, we're diving deep into a core skill that underpins everything: professional incident reporting. So let's start with a big question. When chaos strikes, what really defines a professional response? It's not just about keeping a cool head, though that's important. It's about having the discipline to transform a high-stress, chaotic moment into a structured, objective record. And believe me, this isn't just about paperwork. This is the absolute bedrock of crisis management. So here's our game plan. We're going to walk through 5 key sections. We'll start with the backbone of a crisis. Then we'll get really practical and talk about how to craft an objective record. From there, we'll zoom out to look at the entire reporting ecosystem, then see how a simple document becomes a strategic asset, and finally, we'll wrap it all up by showing why this skill is a true mark of professionalism. All right, let's jump right in. Section 1, the backbone of a crisis. This is all about that critical moment when the initial adrenaline rush has to give way to absolute clarity. The professional response really begins with documentation, and at the heart of it all is the front office. You can think of them as the central nervous system of the hotel during an incident, right? They're the ones connecting the guest experience, coordinating the hotel's internal operational response, and often liaising with external services. In a crisis, every single call, every interaction they handle becomes a vital piece of the official record. Okay, let's move on to Section 2, crafting an objective record. This is where the real discipline of factual documentation comes into play. Now, this is probably the single most important shift you can make in your reporting. On the left, you see something like, "The guest was very angry." That's a subjective opinion. But look at the right. At 22:14, the guest raised their voice. That is an objective, verifiable fact. This is the essence of it, right here, moving from feeling to fact. Timestamps are your absolute best friend in a crisis. An incident can feel like pure chaos, but a clear timeline, well, it transforms that chaos into a logical sequence of events. Just look at how each action is pinned to a specific time, from the very first alarm to the final resolution. This kind of structure isn't just helpful, it is invaluable for any review after the fact. Here's a really critical distinction to remember: how we identify people. For our own team, we use staff names and their roles to document their professional actions. But for guests, it's always room numbers. Why? It's simple: to protect their confidentiality. This is a perfect example of how we balance the need for detailed information with our ethical duty to protect guest privacy. All right, let's move into Section 3, the reporting ecosystem. Because, a report is never created in a vacuum. It really involves this whole network of people, processes, and technology. This is what the ideal workflow looks like. Notice where it starts, with human observation, what our team actually sees and hears on the ground. Then we layer that with hard digital data from our systems. But the real magic? That happens in Step 3, the sync between departments. This is where we bring all the different perspectives together to create one single coordinated report that tells the whole story, not just one piece of it. A great report really balances 2 different sources of truth. On one hand, technology gives us the what and the when, those hard, verifiable facts. But it's human observation that provides the crucial why and how. That's the context, the dialogue, the behavior that no system can ever capture. You absolutely need both to paint the full picture. Okay, on to Section 4, from document to asset. Now, this is where we start to see the long-term value and how a report's life extends long after the incident is over. I want you to think of an incident report not as an ending, but as a beginning. A huge chunk, an incredible 40% of its value, comes from using it for future training and preparedness. It's also a vital tool for legal compliance, for operational improvement, and for accountability. Essentially, every single report becomes a case study for making the entire operation stronger and safer. And this right here, this is so incredibly important. A strong reporting culture is built entirely on a foundation of trust. Your team has to know they have to feel confident that when they file a report, it's going to be used for improvement, not for punishment. When that trust exists, the quality of your documentation and your entire operation just skyrockets. So, what are the hallmarks of a truly high quality report? Well, there are four non negotiables. It has to be timely, done while the details are still fresh, it needs to be clear and consistent, and crucially, it must document the why, the rationale behind the key decisions that were made in the moment. And that brings us to our final section, a mark of professionalism. Let's tie all of this together and see how this one skill connects directly to your future career and the values of our industry. Ultimately, when you boil it all down, this is the goal. We document incidents not just to record the past, but to actively shape the future. This discipline allows us to transform raw, chaotic experience into solid institutional knowledge, which in turn creates a safer, more resilient, and more professional organization for everyone. And at the end of the day, all of this, every procedure, every report, every bit of training, it all serves one single priority. The number one reason we do this is for the safety and security of every guest and every staff member. That is and always will be our fundamental commitment. So I'll leave you with this thought. Reporting isn't just about recording what happened. It's about protecting people. It's about preserving the truth, and it's about building a powerful culture of responsibility. This is a core tenet of our industry, and mastering this skill will absolutely set you apart.